What is up, watch fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris watch shop, and today we'll be talking about some pretty serious watches. Let's do it. Boom, watch fam. All right, we haven't done a collection review in forever. It's one of the audience's favorite series, but they're super difficult to piece together, and I never want to put fluff out there where I just tell you how great your watches are. It's tough, okay? But we've got a great one for you today. The client friend, teenage fan, his name is Yusef. What an enthusiastic guy about so many things, whether it's travel or watches. I met Yusef through email about a year ago when he asked me if I would mind sourcing a beautiful Cartier Tank Louis on this yellow gold original beads of rice bracelet for his wife. And this was like an awesome moment for me because I'm so passionate about Cartier, and I have a hard time investing in them because I know that they're kind of difficult to sell because of just the reality that so many men today, which is nothing wrong, are more sports driven. So it was a great opportunity to source a Cartier, not to mention a Cartier that I certainly never would have stocked in the shop just because it's so obscure. So from day one, I knew that I liked Yusef, and I really valued his taste. This was a gift for his wife. What a lovely situation it was. I'm so glad to have done it. And since sourcing him this watch, he's been an active member of the Theo and Harris family, so this video is going to be awesome. But before we do, a quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing an absolutely incredible Rolex GMT Master reference 1675. Everything about this watch is just top of class, right? Rivet bracelet, gilt dial, pointed crown guards. In my opinion, what is an absolutely phenomenal, breathtaking bezel, very sharp blue and red, saturated, lovely. I love faded too, but it's cool to see a true Pepsi. My dad's GMT, which I've grown so fond of for so many reasons, is a Pepsi, of course, but it's not, it's not a true Pepsi. It has no red anymore. It's lovely, but this is a real deal Pepsi. So it's very cool. So let's get into Yusef. Just the other day, he shot me an email asking for my opinion, as so many of you people out there do, and I'm always so happy to try to help. But this one I found particularly interesting. But before we talk about what he wants to do with his collection, I'm going to give you an abridged kind of rundown of the collection, a couple of the highlights that are important for the conversation. We're focusing on 4 pieces. First being a traditional Rolex Submariner, the second being an Oyster Perpetual 39mm, which is a gift from his wife. And what a great and versatile watch. The next watch is phenomenal, right? It's Audemars Piguet's 15202 Royal Oak. Watches really don't get all that much better than that watch. We'll get more into the details on that watch a little bit later, but wow, Yusef. And the last is a Grand Seiko SBGJ235. I love Grand Seiko. I've become such an enormous fan of the brand in the last 6 months, but geez, these reference numbers are difficult to remember. Wow. This is a watch that his in-laws brought back for him on his behalf last November while they were in Japan. They were in Tokyo when they brought the watch back. His wife is half Japanese, so I think that he felt it was very apropos, by one of the world's greatest brands, specifically, of course, one of Japan's, most famous brands, while they were in Japan, and because his wife is Japanese, it's all, kind of comes together super well. So those are the 4 watches that are particularly important for today's conversation. So, which direction is Yusef trying to move in with his collection? Well, like so many watch geeks out there, Yusef is looking to consolidate some of his collection into more significant, more luxurious pieces. The philosophy of, quality over quantity. And in that endeavor, the Submariner, the AP 15202, and the Grand Seiko are all on the chopping block. Now, the cash that he would free up from the sale of any combination of those 3 watches would go to do 2 things. 1, regain a luxurious sports watch because he'd no longer have the 15202, and 2, pick up a truly fine dress watch. So there were 2 watches that Yusef threw my way that he was considering. One was the Dual Time Overseas by Vacheron Constantin, and the other watch was Patek Philippe's 5146, which is their annual calendar. Let's start with the Vacheron Constantin. This is a wonderful watch that I would highly recommend. It's complicated and traditionally decorated. It's designed well from its dial and bracelet. Certainly the best iteration of the Overseas to date, and there have been, I believe, at least 3. It's value packed at $10,000 to $15,000 below the AP Royal Oak 15202, which of course would be the watch that the VC is replacing. It's a great piece, not to mention the versatility when you start to consider the fact that you can use the bracelet, the rubber, or the leather. All around, I'm a big fan. And $10,000 to $15,000 is a lot of money to have in a delta between that and the 15202. There's a lot of savings there. But geez, I mean, I genuinely feel like the 15202 it's perfect. I mean, in my opinion, it's far better than the 5711. For those of you who don't know, why am I comparing the two? Because both AP and Patek were reintroducing their original models with these two introductions. And the 15202 is truer to AP's original design, and the 5711 is to Patek's original design. All around, it's a lovely watch. Too big for my wrist, but that's neither here nor there. Now, going beyond the watches themselves, I also happen to know Yusef enough to know how much pride he has for owning the 15202 and how much enjoyment he gets from it. And that's really the variable that pushes this decision over the edge here. For me to say, don't get rid of the 15202. It's a watch that I feel, Yusef, that you identify with, and it's certainly a watch that I feel is worth clinging to. Now let's move on to the Patek Philippe. What does it mean to me when you tell me that you want this watch? It could mean that you want a complicated watch. It could. But to me, it really more so means that you want a truly, formal, refined, classic watch by a obviously significant top-tier brand like Patek Philippe, if not Patek Philippe just itself. And I've become quite fond of their annual calendars. And their 5146 is a terrific reference, certainly improved upon its predecessor, which is the 5035, I believe. I'm a big fan of the watch all around. But with a retail price around $45,000, I have to hit the brakes. I'm used to Patek annuals sub 30, and there I feel like they represent remarkable value. But now once I'm above 40, when I'm nearing even $50,000, I can't help but to think what else is out there in the world of complicated high horology pieces. And there's plenty. Whether it's another annual calendar from Laurent Ferrier or it's a perpetual from Patek, if you go back a few decades, there's a lot out there. I'd feel more comfortable recommending you a piece between $14,000 and $25,000 from one of the truly great brands in the world, whether it be A. Lange & Söhne with their 1815 Saxonia, the Longo 1, or Vacheron Constantin with their Patrimony, or if you want to stay in Patek Philippe, their Calatrava, the 5196, specifically in white gold. It's a tremendous version of that watch. There is, of course, one question to be asked. Why am I recommending to you a Saxonia over a complicated Patek? For a lot of reasons, and I'm certainly putting my own emotions into the conversation here, but I felt, even in talking to Yusef via email, that it's not the complication, which makes up the vast majority of the price tag, that resonates, right? I think that Yusef is just looking for a tremendous formal piece. With a collection that's filled with more athletic watches, yeah, there is a desire, certainly for me, and it seems to be for you, for that one gentleman's watch, for the traditional piece. And I get it, but I think you can save a hell of a lot more money if you pull back a little bit. Now, what does that leave us with? What do you need to sell? Basically nothing. The only piece out of the four that I recommend you part with is the Submariner. It's taking up $10,000, and frankly, I think it's redundant. I think that between your Oyster Perpetual, which your wife gave you, your Royal Oak, and your Grand Seiko, which your in-laws brought back, you're covering the Submariner. You've got your collection of steel sports watches, and the Submariner, I think, is a bit of a waste of a space in your watch box. So move that $10K into your next dress watch. Whether that's a Calatrava and you're forking over another $10K, or a Longo 1 and you're forking over another $14, I think that you will be very happy that you kept those other pieces. They just might be perfect for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Yusef, for being a wonderful and passionate member of the Theo and Harris family. And if you like this video, guys, go ahead and like it. If you love watches, subscribe to our channel at Theo and Harris. See you guys soon. Bart Simpson. Bart Simpsons are specific and quite rare submariners, always bearing the reference 5513, that earned their pop culture name by altering their coronet, which is the Rolex logo, to, obviously accidentally, quite mimic the shape of Bart